going on, YouTube? Today we're going to work on the Farmall. Got some parts here in this box from Steiner, and we're going to try and get some oil leaks fixed on the back of the tractor. So we're going to work on the final drives, the PTO, and then the pulley PTO drive on the side. I also have some switches to make some makeshift shut-off setup going on there. I don't like that I have to hop off the tractor right now and run a jumper wire to turn everything off. So we're going to rig it together to work for now, just because I don't feel like buying a $40 switch for just moving the tractor around the yard. So let me show you what I got here. We got an oil filter to eventually get around to an oil change. Probably not today. We've got a new shifter handle, mainly because when my son gets up on the tractor and wants to play with it, I don't want him grabbing the rusty shifter shaft that's on there. So this will just be for that. I do have some cheap switches off of Amazon, and they're momentary toggle switches. So they're pretty neat. They cut through the tape here. All right, so they're momentary toggle switches. They come with these little rubber covers. I think they'll be fine for sitting out in the yard. So they got the little flexible rubber covers here and the momentary toggle. Kind of hard to move, but you know, they won't stay. So that'll be good for activating the ground circuit to shut off the magneto and then shut off the motor. Nothing too fancy, probably won't look the best, but I am gonna wire this up just for safety's sakes. I have an oil seal for the side PTO shaft. This is where the pulley would normally go for belt drives or whatever other attachments you might have. I have two sets of final drive seals, one for each side. These come with the round seal for the bottom pan, and then also a seal for one of the covers. And then I believe these two seals are for actually where the final drive attaches to the differential. I'm not sure that I'll go that far today. My main concern is the bottom pan and this side plate, mainly because I already know they're leaking. So we're gonna start there, and if I see any more leaks develop, I'll dive into it. We also have a PTO seal kit. So this is for the back PTO housing, and then some of the other miscellaneous seals that go with that. I have a shifter top plate seal kit, so that should work well. I have a couple of, I accidentally ordered two. I didn't realize they were different, so I've got the main PTO seal, and then I guess I have a backup in case I ever need it. And then in here are some additional seals for inside the rear differential if I get in there and see that they're leaking really bad. So what you don't see in the box is, you know, they always have some kind of deal for a hat. So I ordered the 99-cent hat. My son has that, and he loves it. He thinks all this is his parts. So it'll be good. He likes to run around wearing that sucker, and I think we have enough to keep us busy for today. I did pressure wash the tractor yesterday and tried to do purple power to get rid of a lot of the grease and grime under there. Unfortunately, it didn't get all of it. So I'm gonna have to go through and kind of scrape and clean with a wire wheel today. I probably won't show everything that I do, but I will show dropping the final drive gears, pulling the PTO shaft, inspecting what I can, and looking for any other damage that might come through. So hang out with me for a while. We'll get some work done, and then maybe we'll go for a little ride later. Okay, so the first task we're gonna get done is the shutoff switch. So the goal here is to run it kind of like the factory wiring to the same location. So I want to run a wire from this post, somewhere nice and neat, up by the gas tank, to this location here. Now, normally this switch would go in and out, and that would activate a ground circuit to the body of the switch on this lever. This tractor has sat outside for so long that that switch just won't move, but I still like this location. So I'm gonna tighten all this up and pull this switch out, use this location for mounting the toggle switch, and I'll probably just run a small jumper wire from here over to this post, and that'll activate the ground circuit, and that'll shut off the magneto. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this old switch off of here and run some wire down to the new location. All right, got the old switch off here. It's pretty crusty, so not much hope in saving that one. Okay, so again, these are the switches I'm going to use. They're very cheap, you know, good old made in China. So not the best, but they'll work for now. I'm just going to get the washers and everything set up here so that I can get this switch temporarily installed, and then we will get started on the wiring. So I guess normally when you would install one of these switches, you know, you've got your on off, right? So off and then on. Just because it's kind of backwards, I'm gonna take this little nub right here and I'm gonna pop it off, because really when I activate this switch, it is gonna be turning the tractor off, not turning it on. So, fun fact, did you know that the knurling that is in a punch, it also works really well for inside items as a file? Didn't do the best job, but it did good enough. I think that'll be fun. All right, so here we are. We have it mounted. Nothing too fancy. As you can see, I'll just be able to reach up, pull the switch back, and it should activate the circuit. So now, let's go ahead and run some wires. I want to run it from here down to the magneto. So let's get started down here on this end. All right, so let's take this stud off. And we'll take this little guy over to my electrical kit, see if we can find the right size terminal, and get started on wiring. Okay, so I'll show you guys my little electrical kit here. This is a box I got from Harbor Freight. It's not too expensive. I have all kinds of cool stuff in it. So I keep all my little wire strippers, multimeter, probes, electrical tape, and heat shrink in here. And then down here in the front, pop this open, I've got all sorts of goodies. So all we're using today is this electrical terminal kit. Hopefully I have one in here that will be acceptable to use. I think this little red guy should work. So that should be fine. I'm okay with using that. It doesn't have to be really heavy gauge wire. For now, I just use some little alligator clips to run the ground, so this will be fine. I don't have any issues with using that. And then I might step it up to using the blue ones just because I don't have 3 of the reds. Let me find one more blue terminal. That should be fun. So there's those. And what we'll be doing is running it to the connectors on this switch. Let's go get some wire. Okay, so also from Harbor Freight, I have this little wire assortment. I don't really care what color this wire is. it's temporary, it doesn't really matter. So for now, just because I think it'll be easier to hide, I'll probably use brown. It'll blend in with the rust. So I'm gonna just pull out, I don't know, about an arm's length of it. I think that'll be acceptable. And maybe a little extra. Go do a quick test fit on the tractor. Okay, so this length, about an arm's length, is plenty. I'm gonna go ahead, get that stripped. Get some heat shrink ready. Because it is gonna be sitting outside. You know, I know this is temporary and it's kind of a rig job, but I don't wanna rig it so bad that it's, you know, gonna fail. Guess I'll have to use this one. And I'm weird. I don't like using the wire strippers as my crimpers. I like using these kind of crimpers, but I hate stripping with these, so I use both. And yes, I know that this blue connector is extremely overkill for the 20 gauge wire, but it'll be all right. Nice and strong. Throw some heat shrink on there, mainly for water resistance, but also because it looks a little bit better. How many of you guys still use a lighter for your heat shrink? I know you're technically supposed to use like a heat gun or something else, but I'd just rather use a lighter. It's fun. Okay. And just to pretty up that connection, I'm going to run a smaller heat shrink down and close off the gap that's left by the larger. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. There we go. Okay, so we have this, it's ready to go on the tractor. I will trim up any excess that I pulled off once we get a little bit further down. So let's go install this screw, put this on the post where it's supposed to be, and we'll figure out some routing. Okay, so let's get this started here. We've got our terminal, got our old crusty screw here. Let's get this installed. There we go, nice and solid. All right, so I'm thinking that when I go to route this wire, I can maybe snake it behind the oil filter and then loosely zip tie it to the throttle rod, since that pretty much takes the same path as where I'm going. So, might not be the best, might have some chafing, and if that happens, it happens. But I think that'll work for now. So I'm gonna go get some zip ties. All right, let's get this routed. Somewhat nice and neat. I know I'm getting ready to do an oil change later, but that's gonna be a minute. I'm starting in the back of the tractor and working my way towards the front, so oil change doesn't have to happen today. It's not like I'm putting this tractor through any hard work. Most work it'll be doing is moving from behind the garage to in the garage. I'm not gonna zip tie that super tight. I want it to have some room to move and wiggle and not chafe on any kind of brackets or anything. Okay, we'll move on down the line. I am going to go ahead and feed it through this hole here, just for it to be somewhat clean. Okay, let's get these trimmed. Okay, let's get this guy installed. Okay, there's that. Can turn it, make it a little nicer, a little tighter, pull some slack out of that line, and go ahead and crank down on this cover that is also acting as the nut, because this bracket is too thick to be able to really put a nut on properly. All right, so after some debating and looking and trying to find a nut that I had that would fit this post, I realized that at some point in this tractor's life, it's had automotive style cables put on it. And this little pigtail is perfect to splice into. So I'm just going to do that. And it'll be fine, because I'm going to change all these cables out at some point when I do the 12-volt conversion for headlights and whatnot. So let's just do that. That's so much easier. Okay, so I didn't want to bore you with the little second part of the wiring, but it goes from there down, around, and to the post for the ground. Yes, I know it's not black, but it's the ground. And then we come from here, zip tied along the throttle cable, all the way down to the magneto. So let's go see if we can start this thing and test that out and see if it works. Go ahead and turn the fuel on here. I'll go get my jumper box, see what we can do. Works good. Okay, so we're back here in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this PTO cover off. I'm gonna loosen the drain right here, get the fluid out. As you can see, there's still a lot of crud on here, so I've got a lot of cleaning to do. But for now, I'm just gonna worry about draining the fluid, pulling the cover. We'll take this part off on the bench, and then we'll get everything cleaned up, get the seals swapped out, and get her put back together, as long as I don't find any crazy damage. Now, if I find crazy damage, I'm not going to bother with new seals. I'll put it back in, order whatever parts I need, and go from there. Now let's see if we can do it by hand. There we go. Let's see what kind of fluid comes out of here. Hopefully it's nothing too gross. That's not bad. It's really not bad at all. I've not even seen any water. It's really good. Great. That makes me happy. Let that finish draining. So to show you guys the fluid, I mean, on my thumb here, looks pretty good. There you go. It's nice and clean. That's great. This is a magnetic plug, and there's hardly any metal shavings on there or anything, so I'm very happy with that. All right, well, I know I said earlier I wasn't going to take this off till it's on the bench, but it looks like I have to take that off to take off the back cover. So let's just dive right into it. So I'm going to use this. It's my earthquake 1/2-inch impact to take everything loose. Don't know if it's a good idea. It might be a bad idea. I don't know. We're going to find out together. Okay, that one came loose. That one came loose. Came loose nice and easy. Okay, that one also came loose. And I'll go ahead and put all of these bolts in my sonic cleaner and get everything nice and fresh. Wow. Let's go pretty far in there. Okay, there we go. She's off. I'm gonna go sit this on the bench. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's look a little closer. Doesn't look like anything bad. I mean, there's a little bit of sludge in there, but I can work with that. Does anybody else use Jegs brake cleaner? Got it on a good sale one day and stocked up on a whole case of this stuff, so probably have way too much of it. Can you ever have too much brake clean? I don't know. Let's see. So it looks like the lower bolts are just a little bit shorter than the top. That'll be good to remember later. Just a little tiny bolt down here at the bottom. Good deal. Okay, I have no idea how heavy this is going to be or if it's going to come off when I whack it with this hammer. So let's just find out together. Let's move this camera a little bit further away in case I drop this thing. Looks like she's starting to separate. Not very well though. Get a chisel. There we go, it's coming. Am I missing a bolt? Oh, I see. There's a bolt right in here that holds the fender on. Looks like, maybe. I don't know. Let's take that off. Maybe that's what's holding it on. All right, let's try it now. There we go. Ew. Oh. Big old boy. All right, let's get this phone off the tripod here and take you in a little closer. So here's the inside. Everything actually looks to be pretty good, really. I'm not seeing anything overly concerning. You know, there's some gasket material that fell in when I pried it apart, but everything looks pretty good. That's awesome. Got some crud up here. We'll get that cleaned up. Let's stick a rag in there and see what we can pull out. Nothing bad. Awesome. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull the drain plug back off, try and scoot all of that old oil out. I want it completely clean in there. Might even hose it out with some brake cleaner. And then I'll get to scraping, and we'll go over there to the bench, check everything out, and get to work. All right, so I got everything cleaned out in here. I didn't find any damage. I did find one tooth to a gear in the very bottom, but I pushed the tractor back and forth, and I couldn't find anything in here that matched up with that. So we're gonna look at the PTO gear, see if that's it. If that's not it, there is an opening at the very bottom that goes into the actual gears for the transmission. So maybe it came from there and just floated towards the back. We'll find out. We're gonna pop that cover off, so we'll see. If you come over here, here's the outside of the PTO case. Pretty nasty. A lot of it's from what came from the inside, so we'll get all that cleaned up as well. I don't see any missing teeth on the outside here. It looks pretty good. I am gonna have to pull this shaft to replace the seal. Shouldn't be too hard. And the inside here looks pretty good as well. Nothing that really concerns me in there. So let's look on the inside. It's a pretty simple setup. You've got your main gear. Looks like it's just held on with a bolt, and then I should be able to pull the whole shaft out. So I'm excited that that's nice and easy. You got your counter shaft, or drive shaft, I guess, in here, and your lever that engages and disengages the PTO itself. It's pretty neat. It's got two little detents here. You can see here, and then it's got a rod that actuates this shaft, which in turn comes out here. There are teeth on the inside here. I'll pull this off and show you. So if you push the lever all the way, you can just slide this shaft off. See all the way through it. It's pretty grimy. We're gonna get it all cleaned up. Nothing here that's too concerning. There is a little bit of rust. But again, I'm not planning on using this tractor for, you know, hard field use. I don't think this shaft will ever be put to use for anything other than maybe driving a hydraulic pump. So I'm not too worried about it. And again, the only force that this sees against it is just moving in and out. All the load is carried by these splines on this end down the shaft. So I think we'll be okay. I'm not too concerned there. Everything here looks pretty good. That goes into the drive gear here, and then that drive gear spins the shaft gear that comes out. So nothing bad there. I do have to push that detent back up into the hole to be able to get the shaft back on. So I'll probably wait. I want to clean this up real good, get all the grease and grime and all the junk out of here before I put it back together. So I think this is good for now as far as teardown goes. I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning things up. I won't bore you guys with those details, but if I come across anything cool while I am tearing it apart that I think you might want to see, I'll go ahead and record it. Otherwise, next time you see this, it will be all cleaned up and ready to install seals. All right, well, I said I wouldn't take you guys through the whole teardown, and I'm glad I didn't, because we would be an hour into this. I got the PTO shaft off. You have to pull the gear off with the puller and then hammer the PTO shaft out of here unless you have a press. I don't have a press. I'm probably going to need one for reassembly, so yay, I get to buy new tools. This gear has to be pulled off as well. to be able to get this counter shaft out and in turn replace any bearings or anything in there. I wanted to pull this off just to, you know, make sure that there's nothing weird going on, and I'm glad I did. So when I pulled it off, you can see right here the woodruff key was just beat to hell. So somebody had a hard time putting that on. So I'm gonna need to replace that, and thankfully, you know, that didn't happen from me pulling it off, but there's just all kinds of crap in this bearing. So I'm gonna try and clean the bearing up, check it. It sounds rough, so I might go ahead and order a replacement bearing since I'm already gonna be probably getting a press and having all kinds of fun here soon. I could put this on. I mean, I've got a harmonic balancer installer tool that I could press this on with. So we'll see. I've just got to, you know, weigh my options. The only thing that I think I might need a press for is putting this PTO shaft back through its bearing. I could probably just beat it to hell with a hammer, but we'll see. I don't know. I think a press would be more fun. Got a nice spot picked out right over there for it. So I'll keep you guys posted as I tear into this a little bit more, but this case is almost done being tore completely apart. Then I'll change over to that one and make a list of anything that I need to order. All right, guys, it's time to start reassembly. I've got this thing as clean as I'm gonna get it. Once I put it back on the tractor, I can wire wheel it more comfortably there. I don't want to wire wheel it with all the bearings exposed. I'm not pulling the bearings out. I'm going to leave them in. I'm hoping that my trick will work. So I've put this PTO shaft in the freezer. I've got a fridge here in the garage. Let it sit overnight. So hopefully it'll just slide right in, maybe with a little bit of taps. If not, I've got my bigger hammer to bang on it. Got it set off the table here with some 6x6s. Before I go get the shaft out of the freezer, I do have to put the new seal in. I'm going to beat it in with this socket and see how far we can go. So wish me luck. If not, we'll be continuing this video with a new press from Harbor Freight. So let's get this guy installed. More on this side. There we go. Nice and even. She's installed. There's a little, I guess it's a spacer that's in the middle here. It's not part of the bearing pack. I've got it as well aligned as I can. So I'm going to go rush over to the freezer, get the shaft, try and put it in here. Won't be doing a lot of talking, maybe a little bit of cussing when I try and put it in. So fingers crossed. Wish me luck. Alright, here we go. See if that's enough. Move quickly. Not quite. Need to go a little bit further. Uh-oh. Whoops. Well, the spacer came out. The bearing came out. That sucks. Well, I guess I'll be pushing this bearing back in. Damn, that sucks. This is the spacer I was talking about. It just slides right over the shaft. I'm going to leave that on while this is frozen. And I'm going to try and just hammer this bearing back in. Let's see what happens. I've got this giant socket that maybe it'll work. I don't know. Maybe I'll make it worse. We'll find out together. It's working. Hey-o. Think we got it. Everything looks good, nothing moved. Rolls freely, it's super cold, and I think I've got enough from the woodruff key here. Let's see if I can put it in and see if it'll fit. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. You know, worst thing that could happen is I have to hammer it a little more, so good to go there. I do need to file this key a little bit before I put it in, so I'm gonna do that. And then we're good to go. So I'll show you new fancy seal. Everything went well here, and fingers crossed that there's no more issues. So we'll let that just warm up naturally and hope for the best. Okay, so we got the woodruff key put in. Now I'm going to take my harmonic balancer installers and get them all set up. Then we should be ready to finish this guy up here. Much better. Okay, I'm gonna just tap on the tip of this just to get it started. Check it, still aligned. All right. Okay, let's hope for the best. Yep, she's on. Good to go there. We get the washers up here. We're all set. Clean this up a little bit. It's a little crusty. Washer, I had to put a new split washer on because I have no idea what I did with the other one, so it's all right. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, she's on. Okay, so the next step is going to be put the main shaft in. I'm going to take these bolts off and set them to the side. Get a new gasket, bolt this guy on. Okay, new gasket. I'm going to set the bearing retainer over to the side for now. I want to go ahead and clean up this surface to make sure we're good to go there. And I'm not going to get all the oil off of it. I'm not, putting this thing in a parts washer, so this will be fine. Okay, we got our shaft. Put the new gasket on and line everything up. We'll put it through. We'll install the bearing retainer next. This would probably be easier to do laying down on the table, but since I've already kind of got it here, I figured I'd just finish it. There's that. Let's see if it's this size. It is not. Go. We're assembled. So now I'm going to flip this thing around and press the gear on the other side. There we go. Okay. Get this thing tightened. Alrighty. So up next, I'm installing this gear here. I did not replace the woodruff key. I think it'll be fine. Maybe not, I don't know. Let's find out together. I promise I'll make a video if the tractor explodes while using it. I think we're ready. She's all assembled. Good to go there. Good to go here. I've got to put the actuating shaft back in, and we're ready to reinstall on the tractor. All right, so we got it all put back together. I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed. I don't have the top part done yet. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for today's video. In the next video, we'll finish up the top part of the PTO. I'll pull the shifter off the top of the transmission, inspect in there, put a new gasket on, and then if there's time, maybe we can get to the final drives. I really appreciate you watching. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you want anything different in the next video. If you want more detail, less detail, more talking, less talking, I'll try my best to accommodate you. Just no feet stuff. It's not the right platform for that. Have a good night.